So once again, a very big welcome to this particular platform, Pinaxtv. So for those of you who are joining us, basically Cameroon is having their elections today, and there's a lot of things which is currently going on in Cameroon. Now, we don't know if this particular thing which is happening in Cameroon is going to be one of the things that basically spreads like a wildfire, basically to be like a roadmap or something that many other African countries will follow suit, especially those countries who are under military rule and they've had just one person rule them for over an extensive period of time. Now, for the starters, we'll be getting to Cameroon, and also we'll also be looking into the details as to what is really going on and the tensions on board that today, if the election results which will be announced, if it doesn't go in favor of the opposition, it is likely that there will be a coup d'etat before this year ends, or perhaps before this particular month ends. So for starters, the person on the screens is Biya. He is the current president of Cameroon, and he's been in power for almost 40 years or 45 years, and the whole world, he's the longest serving president ever. Now, this man came through. First, he was a prime minister. Then, ultimately, what happened was that he became a successor. Okay, because when he was a prime minister or the vice president, the person who was the president at that time, he had a bit of scandal. So he basically, laid over and gave power to him to continue as the president. And since then, this man has been in power since. Now, Cameroon is basically like a multi-party system, but then he's hijacked the whole system to make it favor him. So each and every election that this particular country goes, the results that basically come out favor him. And today they are having, Cameroon is having another election. Actually, they had it yesterday, and today the results are tickling in. But then the funny thing is that this man is 92 years old. Okay, and if he should win, he will have the opportunity to govern again for the next 5 to 7 years. Think about it. Now, his main opposition leader will be looking at that. But before then, this man has some very close ties with Ghana's former president, Akufo-Addo. In fact, at a point in time, as you have seen on the screens, ex-president Akufo-Addo of Ghana sent his national security minister to gift this particular 92-year-old man some gifts. So, on the screens, it says, I received a special message from President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo this afternoon. Okay, it was delivered by Ghana's Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa. So this man was someone who was revered by the New Patriotic Party, was respected. They saw him as someone who lived up to the standards of the New Patriotic Party. Also forgetting that this man is a dictator. I don't know if this is the Buzia Dankwa tradition, or I don't know the playbook that the New Patriotic Party, they were going by following or perhaps honoring this particular dictator. But as I said, a lot is going on today. And then before we even proceed as to who would likely succeed him, because now we are learning that the results is going in favor of the opposition party, we have a snippet as to what really happened today, what really happened yesterday and today in Cameroon when the election results went on. The results are now tickling in, and also the youth have been protesting that they want an Ibrahim Traoré like in their country. So let's watch this video. When we come back, we will dive more into the details and begin the whole conversation.
Supporters of President Paul Biya gather not to vote, but to welcome him as he arrives at his polling station. If he wins and serves out a full term, he will be close to 100 years old. But first, he must win.
I'd rather we avoid speculation. Nothing is certain. I can only speak about what I'd be doing if I emerged the winner.
In the north of the country, the president's former cabinet minister and now closest rival, Issa Chiroma, casts his vote.
I received numerous threats from the security agencies and the minister. I want to tell them the problem is not Chiroma.
Security is tight, especially in opposition strongholds, but turnout has been low in many areas.
On the eve of this election, the government has shut land, sea and air border and restricted people's movement. Officials say it's a routine measure to keep order. But the campaign season has also seen heated exchanges between the governing party and the main opposition, raising concerns of possible confrontation after the elections.
70-year-old Patu Musa says her ballot was a protest vote.
We've
got lots of young men with piles of diplomas at home who are now into drugs and petty theft just because they can't find jobs.
Len Freddie Arthur was looking forward to voting for the first time, but the day ended in disappointment.
I'm really angry that I can't vote where it was indicated, because now I find myself walking to who knows where to see where I'm going to vote. It's really an absurd situation.
As polls close, the process enters its critical stage, counting and tallying at local, regional, and national levels. The Constitutional Council has 15 days to review, approve, or reject the outcome. Only then Cameroonians will find out whether they will have a new man in charge or 7 more years of President Paul Biya. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Yaoundé.
So basically what is happening is that if Paul Biya should be declared the winner, he will have to rule another 7 years, because in Cameroon's constitution, the term right now is 7 years. Okay, Paul Biya right now is 92 years old. So if you add 7 to 92, basically he will be 99 years old. And at that time, if he's still alive, he will still want to be president. Now, his main opposition, okay, this man on the screens, his name is Issa Traoré. Now, for those of you who don't know this man is not new to the whole political landscape. In fact, he even served in Paul Biya's government. He even served in Paul Biya's government for the past 10 years. Up until recently, he had his own run-ins with him. So the big question is, who is Issa Chiroma Bakari? That is the big question that a lot of people are asking. So way back in 1984, this particular man who is now the main opposition leader, who goes by the name Issa Chiroma Bakari, he was a person who staged a coup d'etat against Paul Biya. So in 1984, he was arrested after the failed coup d'etat attempt against Paul Biya, then President Paul Biya, and he was jailed for 10 years. But then surprisingly, he made it out in about 6 years' time. So in 1990, he was released after serving 6 years in jail. Initially, he was supposed to serve a 10-year jail term. That's after the failed 1984 coup d'etat attempt. But then in 1990, he was released. So when he was released, this particular Issa Chiroma Bakari, when he was released, he again went into politics. And this time around, the person that he was staging a coup d'etat against, that is Paul Biya, he became an ardent supporter of Paul Biya's government, even entering parliament and aligning with Paul Biya's Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, because Paul Biya, his party is the CPDM. That's the Cameroonians People's Democratic Movement. So this man was aligned with Paul Biya's government, and ultimately he was defending Paul Biya, saying Paul Biya was the best, Paul Biya was doing everything right. At the point when people were complaining that the economy was bad, things were not going on well, and then people wanted change, because at that time Paul Biya had been in power for almost 12 years or 15 years. This man was just a constant supporter. So in 2009, okay, he was appointed a transport minister, and he served for 10 years. So from 2009 to 2019, this particular man, who is now the main opposition leader, who goes by the name Issa Chiroma Bakari, he was the transport minister from 2009 to 2019. And guess what? Before 2020, this man said he has left government. Now, according to him, he said that there's been a lot of corruption, or there was a lot of corruption in Paul Biya's government, and then Paul Biya was failing to do what was right. You know, to sack people, to take action. And then Paul Biya himself had been in government for so long. So because of that, he stepped out of power, and since then he has become an ardent critic of Paul Biya. So in Cameroon now, he is the main opposition leader. And before this particular session, I'll just before I came into the studio to do this particular report, we heard that he is saying that he should be declared the winner. Paul Biya Issa Chiroma Bakari. So we'll be looking at all of these things together with a whole lot of things that is really going on. But before then, let us try as much as possible and then put this particular thing on the screens, because there's a lot of things going on. Before we even put what we want to put on the screens, the youth in Cameroon, they are protesting. So during this particular election, the opposition stronghold, that is this man, Issa Chiroma Bakari, his stronghold have been invaded by the military. And then the youth in this particular communities, or the stronghold of the opposition, Issa Chiroma Bakari, they had their own clashes with the military. We have some excerpts of this particular video, so let's just take a look at it. When we come back, we dive more into this whole issue. So the excerpt that I just watched is some of the youth who basically support the opposition leader. Now, the opposition leader, as I told you earlier on, he himself was part of the Paul Biya's government. And he himself is not immune. He is 76 years old, and he is the main opposition leader now. Now, the youth in Cameroon, they are singing one tune. We want someone whose policies, whose actions mirror that of Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré. Now, unfortunately, the main opposition leader, whose name is Issa Chiroma Bakari, he doesn't mirror Ibrahim Traoré or Captain Ibrahim Traoré in any way or shape or form, but then he's capitalizing on the popularity, on the sentiment, and the fact that Paul Biya has been in government for the past 45 years. So hey, if the youth is complaining, if the youth are complaining, the youth are angry, the youth want change, let me present and package myself like a reformed Captain Ibrahim Traoré to lead Cameroon, and perhaps I'm going to get the people's sympathy vote. I'm going to get a whole a lot of the youth to rally with me against Paul Biya. So we believe that this man himself is no exception to the rule here. But then in all of these things, as I said, he is the main opposition leader. He has come out basically to say that he has been he basically has won the election. So this is the Guardian here. It says Cameroon opposition leader declares victory in presidential election. So now Issa Chiroma Bakari is saying that he has been, or basically the elections that went on yesterday, coming into today early morning or this particular dawn, he said that he has won the elections. Now, in Cameroon's constitution, if you declare yourself as a winner of an election whilst the electoral commission have not declared you, and ultimately you are the loser, you will basically carry a sentence, a treasonous sentence, which means you'll be jailed, you'll be in prison, or perhaps you can be assassinated by the law, per the law, because a treasonous offense. In most countries, treasonous offense carry very severe consequences. Now, let us read what is here. It says that the Cameroon opposition leader, Issa Chiroma Bakari, has declared himself the winner of the 12th October presidential election and called on the incumbent Paul Biya to accept the end of his 43-year rule. He said, our victory is clear, it must be respected, Chiroma said in a video statement on Facebook with a national flag in the background before directly addressing 92-year-old Paul Biya. We call on the regime in power to show greatness and to honor the truth of the ballot box with long-awaited gesture. That phone call of congratulations, which will demonstrate the political maturity of our nation and the future strength of our democracy. ELECAM, the Cameroonian Electoral Commission, has yet to release the results, which are expected at the latest by 26th October after validation by the Constitutional Council. So, in Cameroon, unlike Ghana and Nigeria, The electoral reform is a bit different. You know, in Ghana, when elections take place, usually within 24 to 48 hours, at most 72 hours, which is 3 days, the results will be known. And because of the systems of in this particular country, Ghana, Nigeria, most of these political parties are able to know the results even before the Electoral Commission kind of tabulate them and bring out the official figure. We saw that at the just ended elections here in Ghana, the 2024 general elections in Ghana, where Dr. Bawumia, who was then the incumbent with the incumbent government, the New Patriotic Party, came out to say he has lost the elections and congratulated his opposition then, John Dramani Mahama, for winning the elections. But then in Cameroon, everything is bad. The systems doesn't really work well. So the Electoral Commission is saying that after the elections, it will take 2 weeks for them to tabulate everything, finalize everything, and at the end of the day, for them to come out and say, hey, these are the results. And then if you are smart, and if you know exactly what is really going on, you should know that this is just a plot or a ploy for them to cheat and change the election results to favor the man in power, 92-year-old Paul Biya. That is exactly what is really going on. That is the whole plan. So that is why Issa Chiroma Bakari is saying that, see, I've been in government with Paul Biya for the past 40 years. I know his tactics. I know what he does. I know his in and out. He will cheat with this particular 2 weeks that we are waiting for the certified results from the Electoral Commission of Cameroon. So I am the winner because we also have tabulated results here. And he is calling on Paul Biya to step down. But I doubt that will happen. Now, the pressure is coming from the youth. The youth in Cameroon basically are saying enough is enough. Now, when you go to Cameroon, there's an interesting thing that is happening. This particular man on the screen, Issa Chiroma Bakari, I've told you that he is the main opposition leader, and already he's declared himself the winner of this particular elections that went on just 24 hours ago. Now, the smaller political parties in Cameroon, most of them are supporting this man. So the big question is, why would they support him if he if he comes from the belly of the person he is contesting? Because remember, he was in Paul Biya's government. Now he's saying that he has changed. Some of the policies, like the insurgencies, the Boko Haram, you know, the attacks of the separatists. Okay, those who want Cameroon to detach and break apart, so you call them the separatists or the separatists. Forgive me if I don't get the word right. So basically, he dismissed that these things or these allegations are not true. He was a staunch Paul Biya supporter and he was in his government. But then when he came out, he apologized that, oh, you know what? When I was in government, I was dismissive of a lot of things which were going on, and then I kind of apologized, and now I know the road. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to change and a whole lot of things. That is exactly what he is now basically saying. So in all, when he came out to apologize, the opposition parties or the smaller parties who are also contesting in the general elections, all of them, most of them kind of tallied their supports, or they came together as one, and then they are saying that we are now supporting, or we are giving our support to the main opponent, which is Issa Chiroma Bakari. In return, according to opposition party, the meeting that they had with Issa Bakari Chiroma is that they will support him to win the elections. But if he should win, there is one thing that he needs to do. He needs to serve his tenure in office and leave when he's due. So he shouldn't extend his rule, try to be in power for the next 40 or 35 years. That is something they don't want. And this particular man, who is the main opposition leader, Issa Chiroma Bakari, have said he has agreed. So he's now agreed that when he comes to power and his tenure is over, he will leave. He wouldn't try to change the constitution or extend his tenure in power or extend his term in office. Now, interestingly, let's put this on the screen because at a point in time, you realize exactly where we are going. So Issa Chiroma Bakari is on Reuters. It says Issa Chiroma Bakari from Cameroon government mouthpiece to Biya challenger. So what you see on the screens, these are some of his party cast, and this is the wife basically. So you could see that a lot of things is ongoing here. So he's a candidate, by the way. So these are some of his candidate cards that he's sharing for his political party. Now let's just take this quick one and move to other issues. He says that it reads, Issa Chiroma Bakari, a long-time ally and former spokesperson of the Cameroon President Paul Biya. He was a spokesperson again for Paul Biya. You should know exactly where this is heading. So it says, Issa Chiroma Bakari, a long-time ally and former spokesperson for Cameroon President Paul Biya, is mounting a strong challenge to his former boss, claiming to have defeated him in the October 12 presidential elections. In a speech late Monday, the 76-year-old former minister declared victory and urged Biya, who is 92-year-old, that is the world's oldest serving head of state, to show greatness in conceding defeat. He said, "Our victory is clear. It must be respected," Chiroma said. "The people have chosen, and this choice must be respected." Now, it goes on further to say, the declaration marks a dramatic turn in the career of a man who for years defended Paul Biya policies, including during the country's most turbulent crisis. His transformation from staunch ally to opposition figurehead and challenger is one of the most striking political shifts in Cameroon's recent history. His candidacy electrified voters who are clamoring for change after more than 4 decades, that's 40 years, of Biya's rule, during which economic development in the oil and cocoa producing nation has stagnated. So now the youth is saying that, see, there are basically no jobs. Things are not going on well. We want change. And for change to happen, basically, we need a person who is going to be the transformational leader and also be a transitional leader. He will come transform the country, make sure that our resources is working for it. Because for those of you who don't know, oil, Cameroon basically is good, is rich in producing oil and cocoa, just like Ghana. But then their GDP is somewhere around 46 million. And for those of you who don't know, Cameroon's population is just around Ghana's population, around 30 million. But Ghana's GDP is somewhere around $90 billion. Whilst Cameroon's GDP is around $44 billion. So Ghana's economic independence, the strength is outweighs more, 2 times better than Cameroon. And that is a result of a person who has been in power for over 45 years and he still wants to extend his rule. If Paul Biya should win this election by any way, shape or form, he will be the longest serving head of state in the world to have ruled for half a century. 50 years, 52 years, Paul Biya. If he should win this election and he should extend his rule, he will be president for almost 52 years. This is sad. This is sad. So you should know exactly why the youth, basically in this particular part of the world, they are saying that, hey, enough is enough. We want change. We want change. And that is exactly what is really going on. So for those of you who are basically joining us, that is exactly what is really going on. Basically, what you can do is to bring in your comments and then we'll basically read it for you. What do you think about what is really going on? Do you think is the best? Do you think is the best? Do you think that all these things happening in Cameroon, they wanting to unseat their current incumbent president, Paul Biya, do you think is the best? These are questions that perhaps we need to ask ourselves. So that is exactly what is really going on. And definitely we'll be moving to other issues as we tackle more of these. Many people have brought in their comments. This is coming from Hassan Modi. Hassan Modi is basically gave an emoji, and this is coming from Magdalene. It says Cameroon have chosen Chiroma. So basically, word on the street is that Chiroma is doing very well, and basically, it seems like he is going to win. Already, he's declared himself the winner. So you should clearly see that there's a lot of things going on here, right here, in regards to this particular